And a warm welcome again. I'm Amarachi Ubani. Let's get into it now. Rescuers are still searching for 31 sailors unaccounted for after a warship carrying more than 100 crew capsized during a storm in the Gulf of Thailand. Authorities say they had rescued 75 sailors and will keep looking for the others. Crew have been working through the night to find survivors and are now working with Air Force assistance.
Warships and helicopters scour the choppy waters of the Gulf of Thailand in an effort to locate 33 Marines missing after a warship sank overnight. The Thai Navy deployed 3 of its vessels and 2 helicopters to find the missing of Parachuakurikan province south of Bangkok. The cover they were aboard, the HCMS Sikotai warship, is said to have suffered an engine malfunction and went down just before midnight, about 20 nautical miles off the coast. According to the Navy, an overnight rescue mission in bad weather secured over 70 of the 106 people aboard, but the others were forced to abandon ship. The US-built Sikotai had been in use since 1987. It was hit by strong waves on Sunday, forcing it to tilt to one side before becoming flooded with seawater.
And now to the shooting in Toronto, Canada. Authorities are pouring through information that could help tell why a man opened fire on a building in Vaughan, killing 5 people and injuring 1 person who's currently in hospital. A suspect himself was shot dead by police on arriving on the scene on Sunday. York Police Chief Jim Maxwell said attending officers were met with a horrendous scene with numerous deceased victims found in different flats of the building. Maxwell says there is no ongoing threat to the public, and York Police say those evacuated could return to their homes. While it has fewer mass shootings than the United States, Canada has recently seen an increase in gun violence, prompting recent legislation to ban handguns. And speaking of the United States, emergency responders are treating those injured in a plane going through severe turbulence as it flew from Hawaii to Honolulu. 11 people were seriously injured in the incident. Authorities later said that 9 patients were in stable condition with injuries ranging from serious head injuries, lacerations, bruising, and loss of consciousness. Hawaiian Airlines Chief Operating Officer John Snook praised the aircraft's crew, 3 of whom were injured in the incident, adding that there is a lot of unstable air in the flight path currently, and the airline is staying on top of the weather forecasts.
From Phoenix to Honolulu, encountered severe air turbulence shortly before descent into Honolulu. We know that there were injuries on board, 20 injuries that we've recorded, 13 of which were serious enough to warrant transportation to local hospitals via ambulance. I want to say I'm very grateful for the support of the emergency services, Jim and his team, the DOT, the police and fire department, who were on site as soon as the aircraft arrived and provided fabulous care for those that were injured. Also want to thank our crew members, 3 of whom were injured during the flight and transported to hospital. And despite that, our crew did a terrific job managing what was a very difficult situation. So we're very grateful for that. Also grateful that it seems at this moment that none of those guests that were transported to hospital are in critical condition. Yes, no, we're very familiar with the current weather forecast. There's a lot of unstable air in the area. The seatbelt siren was on at the time that the incident occurred, and we're obviously in a situation in the islands right now where we're dealing with a lot of unstable air and weather conditions that are certainly difficult to deal with if you're an airline.
But just to reiterate what's been said a bunch of times, I'm just really happy that it looks like everybody's going to survive. There were no fatalities, and I'm hoping folks don't have to stay in the hospital too long and can get back to their loved ones, whether they live here or are on vacation, and of course the crew members.
Will he do it? Will he not? Talking about Elon Musk's new poll on Twitter asking users whether he should step down as head of the microblogging social media platform and saying he will abide by the results of the poll. Well, users did vote, and 57.5% voted in favor of him stepping down. Musk is yet to comment since the polls closed, and if he were to resign as chief executive, it would still remain as Twitter's owner. In the past, Mr. Musk has obeyed Twitter polls. He is fond of quoting the phrase, "Vo populi, vo Dei," a Latin phrase which roughly means the voice of the people is the voice of God. And I'm sure you already know that Argentina are winners of the 2022 Qatar World Cup. Fans have been over the moon about it, literally. Look at them. Thousands packed on the streets of the capital, Buenos Aires, roaring with cheers since La Selección won in Doha, Qatar on Sunday with a penalty shootout that followed a 3-3 draw after extra time. Under the towering obelisk in the city, crowds could be seen cheering with countless national flags. One giant jersey shirt could be seen hanging up on a building with 3 golden stars symbolizing the country's 3-time victory. As some fans are also extremely proud of Rosario, the city which was a hometown of Lionel Messi, Di Maria, and Argentina's head coach Lionel Scaloni. And more from the celebrations of Buenos Aires. Fans also took to the streets to celebrate the team's victory. Well, we've been saying it, but can we ever stop? The Argentinians themselves are over the moon about it. And a tense roller coaster match played in Qatar in front of some 88,000 fans. Argentina, led by star Lionel Messi, took home its 3rd World Cup after beating France, the defending champions, 4-2 in penalties after drawing 3-3 after extra time. A South American team, which lost the final of the tournament against Germany in 2014, had not won a World Cup since 1986. But the rise of the team has spurred avid support in Argentina, which is plagued by high inflation and an economic crisis that has pushed some 40% of the population into poverty. On the other side of the divide, dismayed Parisians felt knocked out a day after the Argentinian win. Take a look at the headlines of the newspapers. La tête haute. Outside Saint-Nazaire station, the gateway to the French capital for many Greater Paris residents, many commuters expressed their disappointment, referring to the étoile or star symbol that is embroidered on the national team jersey for each World Cup victory. One of them said that France deserved a 3rd star in addition to the ones won in 1998 and against Brazil and again in 2018 against Croatia. However, many of the spectators enjoyed the match, saying it was a superb final. Judging the World Cup as a whole had been magnificent, said some of the responders to a poll in Paris. French national soccer team supporter Ramzi Tabit said he was nevertheless happy at a tournament crowned the career of his favorite player, Argentina's Lionel Messi. Messi said the Qatar 2022 was his final World Cup. Let's bring in Channel's television's, well, I'll call him the London sports correspondent, although you're the sports editor, Austin, who also spent a few days in Qatar. He's back in London. Austin, welcome. And before we talk about Argentina's win, how was it covering the World Cup in Qatar, despite Nigeria not making it to the competition?
It was an unusual World Cup, Amarachi. It's good to be with you on the show because Nigeria wasn't there. And this is the first time we'll be having the World Cup in the winter. You know, I've covered 2 previous editions in the summer 2014 and 2018. And that's why you get people come out, see some, sunlight and then play football. But this one was different. And again, the games happened right there in Doha. You know, the stadiums weren't far from themselves, so you can watch one game or decide to even pause one game and go to another stadium to watch another one. So Qatar did something different with this World Cup, but it wasn't the same with the Super Eagles of Nigeria missing. Some fans were asking, where are the Super Eagles? But maybe now the players will understand that the World Cup is something that they must always qualify for. So we'll wait to see previous editions.
Yeah, and we also have the best supporters team, don't we? With our resilience and our songs and our dances, would have been a whole carnival, at the stadium. Well, this has been a World Cup of surprises, Austin, and I was speaking to your colleagues on the desk about it. When it came down to Argentina and France, two very popular sides with two very fantastic players. Well, all of them are fantastic, aren't they? But of course, sides were on Mbappe and on Lionel Messi. It must have been hard for fans to choose which side to support, right?
Surprisingly, it wasn't hard for the fans to choose Amarachi, because I was out there on the streets before the final match. They weren't even saying they want Argentina to win. Majority of the fans were saying we just want Messi to win. They were talking Messi. The love Messi has got in Qatar is unbelievable. It's unreal. You know, they just wanted Messi to go out of this World Cup with the trophy. Yes, they love Kylian Mbappe. In fact, they admire what he's doing at just 23. But Messi is a mini god in Qatar. So the fans really wanted him to win it, and they are singing and dancing now that Messi has won it. This 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar has shown us that on one part, there's an end to an era and the beginning of another era.
Yeah, and 3 times Argentina has won it now. A perfect trinity, and what a way to end an era, especially for Lionel Messi. He won the Golden Boot Award, and then he got robbed by the Qatari officials, at the World Cup. What a proud moment it must have been for him. But it also is a bittersweet, isn't it, Austin? Because it's not only his final World Cup, it also means that this might be the last we'll see of Messi, probably on the world stage, right?
That's it, he has to just bounce. This guy has been giving us uninterrupted 2 decades, nearly 2 decades of quality football, mesmerizing the fans, using his personality to push football. He was close to getting it in 2014. Argentina lost in the final. In 2018, they lost in the semis. And now, he came into this World Cup, and the biggest shock happened in the opening game when Argentina lost to Saudi Arabia. Then football turned the story around. Messi finally has the World Cup, where before he was given the World Cup to leave, he kissed it. That shows you how much he has been longing to win this trophy. And finally, Messi has it. I was saying, does it put an end to the conversation that who is the greatest player of all time between Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi? Fans are saying with this victory, Messi is the greatest.
Yeah, and so many fans, their hearts bursting with pride. I know my colleagues were here, their eyes glued to the screen watching, the match as it unfolded. A lot of people were, celebrating. Even here in Nigeria, even though we didn't make it to the competition. But you mentioned Cristiano Ronaldo, and I just wanted to talk a bit about the near misses of this World Cup. Countries like Portugal, hopes have been high. Countries like Morocco, they surprised everyone, didn't they? The only African team to have gotten as far as the semi-finals, I suppose, because I really wasn't paying attention, but just paid attention to the players especially. Let's talk about Cristiano Ronaldo and his own performance on the scene. He's been bedeviled with some bad press lately, and that may have affected his performance, right?
He did in some way, he tried to handle it as a professional, but right before the World Cup, he gave that revealing interview to Piers Morgan, and the media jumped on it. Portugal as a team tried so hard not to be distracted by that. Cristiano Ronaldo is Cristiano Ronaldo. He will always make the news, and I think to an extent he loves it, but he just chose a very wrong time to bring out all of those damning revelations about Manchester United. Just before the start of the World Cup, he also wanted it. This is one trophy that is also missing for Cristiano Ronaldo, and he knows that if he doesn't win it, it will push all the attention to Messi, and Messi has won it now and getting all the love. So Cristiano Ronaldo did what he could do, but football wanted Morocco. What a story. We shouldn't stop talking about what Morocco did at this World Cup. They were so close to even finishing on the podium. They lost to Croatia in the 3rd place game, but Morocco came to this World Cup to show that Africa has what it takes to even go all the way to the final. Cristiano Ronaldo might just look back and say maybe the World Cup is not for him. Maybe go to Saudi Arabia or even Qatar, because they also like him in Qatar, and then make some good money, Amarachi.
Maybe. So where is the ball headed next, Austin? Where are we going?
For the World Cup, we should be going to, I think, Mexico and the United States in 2026. So the World Cup is massive, and everyone now knows that, look, the World Cup is a place where you can go announce yourself. Tunisia beat France. Saudi Arabia defeated Argentina. Morocco defeated Belgium. You see, it's the World Cup. It's where you just come and prove to yourself, and football is beginning to show us time and time again that the unusual things can happen. You know, Argentina didn't win the World Cup since 1986. That's a big footballing country. So now is the time for Africa to start dreaming. For Nigeria that didn't qualify, start getting ready. 2026 isn't far away. And if Morocco can push all the way to the semifinals, why not Nigeria even get to the final?
Yeah, I like your spirit, Austin. You're very patriotic. Hopefully Nigerians are listening, and hopefully the Super Eagles are also listening, and we'll be ready in 2026. Thanks again. I know you'll have more details for the guys at 9 o'clock today. Thanks again, Austin.
Thank you so much, Amarachi. Thank you.
We're still ahead on the program. The world's second largest hydropower station is set to fully come online by Tuesday. Stay with us. Welcome back. And after a hard-fought battle, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has been re-elected as leader of the ruling African National Congress. At the ongoing conference of the party, where the results were being announced, Mr. Ramaphosa scored 2,476 votes, putting him ahead of his rival and former Health Minister Dr. Zweli Mkhize, who got 1,897 votes. Since his deputy David Mabuza declined nomination, immediate past Treasurer General Paul Mashatile has been elected the new deputy president of the ANC. The party's chairman, Gwede Mantasashe, has been re-elected after beating two other candidates with 2,062 votes.
For position of president, we start with spoiled ballots. There were 4. And abstentions, those who did not care to present themselves to vote, were 7. And so for Comrade Mkhize Zwelini, his total is 1,897. And for Comrade Ramaphosa Cyril, his total is 2,476. Please,
a positive outcome, more positive for the governing party, but more importantly, extremely positive for the country, because all the good work that President Ramaphosa started at the onset of his term will now be accelerated, be given further impetus, and be sustained over the next term. Feels very energized, looks forward to continue the work that he has been doing. I will imagine that there will be some moments of reflection in terms of how do we improve from the successes that we've seen, but more importantly, how do we continue to get the whole country to rally behind these reforms that the president has initiated and has undertaken.
Britain's plan to send migrants to Rwanda is lawful, according to London's High Court, in a victory for Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, who has made a high-stakes political promise to tackle the record number of migrants arriving in small boats. A policy which was announced in April would involve Britain sending tens of thousands of migrants who arrive on its shores more than 4,000 miles away to Rwanda. Announcing the court's decision, Judge Clive Lewis and Jonathan Swift said it was lawful for Britain to make arrangements with the Rwandan government to send asylum seekers to the country for their asylum claims to be determined there. The Prime Minister is under growing pressure from his own members of Parliament and the public to deal with the arrivals. Figures show more than 4,000. A record number have come from France this year. Many have made the journey from Afghanistan, Iran, or other countries suffering war, that travelled across Europe and onto Britain to seek asylum. China's capital, Beijing, has been increasing its capacity to treat patients with fever by mobilizing nearly 1,200 new fever clinics, as well as a number of temporary service centers, and ensuring medical supplies in the city. The director of Beijing Administration of Traditional Chinese Medicine, Tu Jitao, said the municipality has taken urgent action in response to the growing number of patients with fever. Secondary and tertiary hospitals have dispatched medical staff to the temporary centers to provide prescription services and medical insurance settlement for patients with fever, especially those above 6 and under 60 without underlying diseases. So far, 8 districts, including Xizang, Chaoyang and Fengtao, have turned available space, such as gymnasiums, into fever clinics equipped with emergency drugs, equipment and beds, and boosting the receiving capacity by 4,200 per day. The Baitan Hydropower Station, the world's second largest hydropower station, straddling the provinces of Yunnan and Sichuan in southwest China, entered its final preparation stage today, with expectations it will hold a total installed capacity of 16 million kilowatts. The station, scheduled to fully come online on Tuesday, is located on Jinsha River, the upper section of the Yangtze River in southwest China. Investment in the project is valued at 220 billion won. That's about $34.07 billion US. It's equipped with 16 hydro generating units, each weighing over 8,000 tons and with a capacity of 1 million kilowatts, the largest single unit capacity in the world. Since the first batch went into operation, the station has generated more than 53 kilowatts of clean electricity. Once fully operational, the annual electricity generating capacity of the station could top 62.4 billion kilowatts. By then, Baitan will become the world's second largest hydropower station in terms of total installed capacity, second only to the 3 Gorge Dam projects in central China's Hubei province. Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong will pay a visit to China between tomorrow and on Wednesday. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning made the announcement today. She said December 21st this year marks the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and Australia. During the visit, State Councillor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi will hold talks with Foreign Minister Penny Wong and together hold a new round of China-Australia diplomatic and strategic dialogue. China hopes Penny Wong's visit will help the two sides further implement the important consensus reached by the leaders of the two countries during their meeting in Bali. Take the 50th anniversary of China-Australia diplomatic ties as an opportunity to uphold the principle of respecting each other, pursuing mutual benefit and win-win results, and also seeking common grounds while reserving differences, enhance dialogue, expand cooperation, manage differences well, so as to bring China-Australia relations back to the right track for sustainable development. December is always the busiest time of the year for Santa Claus and his elves, and we know why. This year again has lots to do with Santa's Lapland in Arctic Finland. Children from all over the world are writing letters to Santa Claus, wanting to let Santa know why they deserve to be on the nice list rather than the naughty list. Head elf at Santa's Lapland, Snuggles, said Santa Claus himself decides who ends up on which list, but if someone isn't sure they will make the nice list, there's still time to make amends, at least now until Sunday. After a tough couple of years because of the pandemic, Santa's Lapland is back to full capacity, meaning the elves are busier than ever. Santa's Lapland is situated in the far north of Finland, hidden in the snowy forests, more than 200 kilometers above the Arctic Circle. I hope Santa knows my address. Thanks for watching. I'm Amarachi Ubani.